Hey guys, Mr. Kim Taehyung is going to be on the cover of many magazines in September. He's on the cover of 3 September issues. September issues, I believe, are like the biggest issues for magazines as it's the start of the fall season. And V is on the covers of Arena Homme, Pop, and W. Decked out in Celine, decked out in Cartier. So let's evaluate the looks, starting with Arena Homme. This cover of Arena has to be my favorite. Black and white, moody, and then the strong red that is gonna jump off of the shelves. Like the combination of black, white, and red is just so strong and like aesthetic. The fashion screams Celine. Obviously, it is Celine. We're getting a very streamlined silhouette, something that I always associate with Celine. There's always a slight edginess, grunginess to the pieces that Celine put out. And this top, you can see this beautiful racer-like cut sweeping under the arm. Obviously cropped, we're getting the flash of midriff. And then we've got the very form-fitting trouser. I can't work out whether it's a denim or a leather. You can't really pick up the texture in the shot. I would assume a leather. I think a leather pant with this top, rockstar vibes, especially with that beautiful studded belt with the silver buckle. It ties everything together. I would assume that the sequin is silver, like a deep dark grey silver. You'll notice that the styling of this shot has been kept very minimal. I'm not really seeing much in terms of jewelry. I believe there is a bracelet on his left arm and then some rings. But apart from that, it's all about the texture of the sequin and then the metallic shine of the studs on the belt. Because then you'll notice in the background of the shot that there's light, and then there's light picking up on those metallic textures, so it ties it all beautifully together. The next cover, we jump to color and we're getting a full-length shot, but I like the fact that they've pulled the red through because it creates a continuous color story, so incredibly smart. The full-length shot stood in front of that vintage sports car. To me, it kind of looks like an Alfa Romeo, but this is a fashion channel, so don't quote me on the cars. If anyone knows what car it is, let me know in the comments. The vibe of the cover is completely different in terms of the photography. Obviously, we're getting a studio setting in the first one and then an outdoor setting in the next, but we're still getting the edgy, grungy, streamlined Celine vibes. This leather jacket, the combination of the red and the black, I think is beautiful. Personally, I don't love the yellow epaulette. I think it distracts, if anything. I think if it was black to tie into the collar lapel and then that center panel, it would have looked a lot better, but that's just my opinion. It does give a military vibe, like the military epaulettes where it's like gold with the rope. It gives that vibe, but personally, I just don't really like the combination of this yellow with this red. It reads a little like McDonald's. Maybe because I'm hungry, I don't know. But yeah, that's just my opinion. And then the sheer top underneath. I just love the juxtaposition of the sheer with that heavy leather over top. And then this cut of the leather jacket is quite boxy looking, but it's still a very streamlined silhouette. And then we're getting the skinny black pant with those heeled pointed boots. Again, something that's very true to how Celine is styled. Again, you'll notice the styling of the outfit is quite minimal. We're not getting statement jewelry or like a strong belt, a bag, anything like that. It's all about the pieces of the outfit. And looking at the shot overall, I love that he stood in between the two no entry signs because it ties the red of the jacket into the setting of the photography. Our final Arena cover, we're getting a portrait shot, so I like the fact that the 3 different covers are giving us 3 different styles of shot. I love the vibe of this portrait. It's got this like nonchalant, seductive kind of vibe to it. His eye just like peeking through his fringe. It's giving me that. He's obviously shirtless, and then we've got the Celine leopard print neckerchief. I feel like Celine used a lot of leopard print, and it's not something I would necessarily like see in my day-to-day life and be like, oh, it must be Celine, it's leopard print. But looking at the neckerchief, knowing that he's a Celine ambassador. In my head, then I'm like, alarm bells, like Celine, Celine, Celine. And then with the actual cover itself, I like how they've pulled through an orange tone, but they've kept it quite vivid, and they've changed the graphic of the V, which I think suits this cover more. If we look back at the previous covers, you'll see that the graphic of the V, it like gradients out into nothing, into a sharper point, whereas here the top of the V is boxed off and it's slightly shorter, which draws your attention to the portrait more. Pop magazine, we've got 2 covers, and then I believe there's an editorial inside. I think it's interesting that we're getting a black and white cover, then a portrait on Pop, because it relates back to the covers on Arena. Something to share with you here. So Pop and Arena were styled and shot by the same photographer and stylist. That's why we're getting a crossover of certain outfits and a similar vibe with the photography. Both shoots were captured by Hong Jang-hyun, and both of them were styled by Helga Baril. They know what's up. They've done a great job on both. This black and white outfit, again, there's just such a nonchalant vibe about it, something that, again, I associate with Celine. And you can also see that the silhouette is very form-fitting, lots of embellishment, studs, that like rock and roll, edgy, sexy vibe. Celine. The leather jacket is a zip through, and the collar shape's really interesting because it wraps up and around the neck, but it doesn't look like it folds back at all. But then it has this beautiful sweep down into the shoulders. And then it has this beautiful, very graphic Western style paneling because it's coming up and into a triangle, and then the studs obviously reflect that paneling to make it jump out more. And then you can see that there is a smaller stud that's been placed very lightly inside that and across the shoulders. So the thicker line along that paneling of the seams, it really shouts out louder. You can see that they've done something similar on the sleeve as well. The thicker, heavier stud wrapping back, and then a very light placement of studs within that. These pants, 100% leather pants. You can see that from the texture, and again, very form-fitting, very sleek. And then we've got the heeled boot with that metal round toe. I love the flash of metal on the toe of the boot because it ties back into the hardware of the top, so it balances out the outfit. And then we're getting a true heel here, like, come on, like a 3-inch heel at least. Love, 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 love the heel with this look. The portrait shot, I love the way it's been lit onto V's face because we're getting the flash of light through the hair, and then we have the black background and then the black top with all of the metallic that just shines off of the page because of that lighting. Personally, I think the Arena portrait was stronger just because it had that more nonchalant, seductive vibe, because you had the eye like poking through the hair, staring out, whereas here the eyes are pretty much completely covered, so not as strong in my opinion. As you can see here, we're getting the same 2 looks from the covers of Arena in the Pop editorial. The red leather jacket, love how it's been shot here and lit and how there's a slight blur. Also, you don't get to see the gold yellow tone of the epaulette as much, but you'll see that there is a belt detail, but it's a lot finer than the belt in the Arena cover. And then obviously the Arena cover has just been shot ever so slightly different. We're still getting the same wrap of the arms, but his face is pointing to camera this time. Let's talk about the Pop looks that aren't repeats. This image here, it definitely leans into a punky vibe. Straight away you get that from the graphic of the t-shirt. The graphic at the top, which I believe says Jubilee, even the way the graphic is done, it leans very back into the punk era of the 80s. And then it's been styled with a denim pant, I believe, and then we're getting that Western style belt. So on all the belts has been a style of hardware, but each style of hardware has been different. That was a tongue twister. And then the same with the leather jacket. The beautiful texture of this leather, you can see the ever so slight crackle to this leather. It's beautiful, but the studs are a lot less than the studs on the leather jacket on the cover, wrapping around the armhole, around the neck, and around the cuffs. So the styling is consistent, but the levels of hardware and styles of hardware really is switched up throughout. This portrait here, you can see what I was talking about with the levels of hardware. A lot less hardware in the shot, but we're still getting the leather and hardware pulling through. And then the really grungy, smoky eye makeup really keeps it in this sexy Celine aesthetic. This outfit here must be the outfit that's that cover portrait shot because it's got the same neckline and the same metallic. The lighting also looks very, very similar. But for me, this outfit is very, very similar to the other metallic look. That's the crop top. So I find it slightly bizarre to have such similar looks in the same editorial. Both are great, but I feel like this look could have been swapped out for something else. Looking at this black and white shot here, I believe this is the red, black, and yellow jacket because you can see the difference in color between those two panels. Obviously shot in black and white, it's going to give you a different vibe with the grayscale, and they've styled it with that snakeskin t-shirt underneath. This shot here with this leather jacket with the tassels, for me this screams Celine. I feel like Celine love this Western tassel vibe. You'll see it a lot in their collections, and the jacket itself is beautiful. How the paneling of the shoulder comes down and it hits just the break of the jacket, which is where the lapel folds back. It's just so streamlined and slick. And then it comes down single-breasted. It looks like it's 4 buttons, and then it's finishing right at the top of the front. The thigh with that very sharp square quarter. I think it's a beautiful leather jacket, and the way that they've styled it lets the leather jacket be the star of the show. This outfit here, you know, when I was talking about how Celine really loved a streamlined silhouette, I think this outfit couldn't back up that point anymore. This outfit, the jeans really remind me of when like spray on skinny jeans were the vibe, were the trend. Taking me back. Flashbacks, not necessarily good ones. The overall silhouette I love because it is so streamlined, so Celine, very wasp-like. I love the double belt because it really highlights the waist and draws your attention to the 2 different textures in the shot. I can't tell if these are a coated denim or a leather trouser because you can see that there's that seam that goes around the knee, which is something quite common in leather trousers because obviously the skin of leather isn't always long enough for the legs. You have to put the seam in it to join the pieces together. Whereas if it was coated denim, I don't think you'd necessarily have that unless you were trying to emulate the characteristics of a leather pant. So the jury's out on that one, but the streamlined silhouette, the texture of the top, that pointed heeled boot, again, screams Celine, but I think it's very similar to this look. Lots of similar looks in this shoot, which personally I find bizarre. Do you see what I mean? We're getting the snakeskin boot with the flat form, the skinny trouser, but then the texture of the top looks wet, almost like rubber. So same but different. And it was the same with those metallic looks. And personally, I just find that very bizarre in an editorial shoot. Our final image from Pop, we're getting the fur coat with the leather pant. Not sure why we're giving the feet away for free, but do what you want. I'm sure BTS fans of a foot fetish are having a fucking heyday with this one. Love the texture of the fur with the leather. To me, it looks like sheepskin. I'm personally not into fur, so I'm always a bit like, oh no. But I can appreciate like the craftsmanship of creating a coat with this fabric. And the combination of, you know, the fur with the leather, it just screams luxury fashion. Don't have a problem with leather, but fur, personally no. My favorite shot from Pop has to be the cover just because of like the really nonchalant vibes. The full leather outfit, like, come on. Finally, the W Korea shoot. This was full focus on Cartier, so let's kick it off with the covers. This cover here, I think is so beautiful. The way it's been lit, the light across the face, the eye that really, really stands out. I love the leather jacket, collarless, the sharp lines, the gold buttons because it ties beautifully into the choker. Obviously, all of the jewelry in this shoot is from the Panther de Cartier collection because V was the face of that campaign to announce him as the global brand ambassador for Cartier. So, you know, it makes perfect sense. But the gold buttons tying into the gold choker, and then the way it's either been lit or edited, so the light hits the neck, but then the neck and the jaw are so shadowy, and then the light flare across the face. The golden hair, I love when idols have their hair styled like this and they have the pieces pulled out. It just really has like this 80s aesthetic that I love. This cover is probably my favorite just because of how it's lit and the combination of black and gold with the texture of the leather. This cover, I admit, I really dislike the outfit. I don't like the texture of the pant, and then we've got the texture of the tank top. I think the tank top is a nice piece to highlight the jewelry, which is obviously the point of this shoot. But I think when you look at the outfit in the first shot, the beautiful texture of the leather and the gold, the texture of the outfit with the ribbed knit in this shot, and then when you see the full video of this one, which we'll get into, it's like, ooh, fuck. Whereas this, to me, it doesn't have the same oomph. I love the overall vibe of the cover. The grey in the back, the grey logo of the magazine, then we're getting the different tones of grey in the outfit with the textures, so it jumps off of the plain background. But overall, not my favourite outfit. It is, like I said, a great backdrop for the jewelry, and there is a lot of jewelry. The rings, the bracelet, the 2-layered necklaces, and then the earring. But then I also find it interesting that it's a focus on Cartier, but then the shot is quite far out. This shot, I absolutely love. The beautiful hue of orange and then the lighter orange for the W logo immediately gives it this like vintage 70s vibe. It just jumps off of the stand. And then having the black rib, the white font. White, black and red is a strong color combination, and this is a very red tone of orange. V looks stunning. The slick hair giving us a slightly different vibe from the hairstyles that we have seen on the other covers. And then this beautiful hoop earring. It really is a statement. But when you see this full look, this look with the bracelets, the rings, the nails, I am obsessed with these nails. The next time I paint my nails, I know exactly what is going to be going on. And then the outfit, the paper bag waist of these grey trousers, and then how they've put that slim belt around it. Love that combination. And then the piece of knitwear, obviously the beautiful rib texture, that high neck, but then how they've cut the panel out at the chest, giving us that break of flesh, which ties in to the sleeveless look. It's just so incredible. And that's why I was like a bit with the other outfit, because this has a lot of strength, a lot of power, and it plays off the jewelry beautifully. V's also posted this other black and white image. I'm unsure whether this is a cover or a picture from the interview inside the magazine, but this has a lot more power to me than the grey cover. It is the same outfit, it's the same jewelry, it's the same tank top, but the fact they've projected the leopard print over the clothing, over the face, with the hairstyle, with the outfit being so tonal, the background, it really adds a power and screams the Panther de Cartier collection. Since we're here, let's quickly touch on the videos that W Korea posted. This one, the blonde wet look hair, we've all been attacked. Like, oh my God, it's sexy, okay? It's sexy. And then with the leather suit, how they've layered those two necklaces that follow the neckline. They've not done the top button up, giving it like a slightly deeper plunge when he's moving, taking the pictures. And then you can see that the pants are super wide. So the suit overall has this really nice slight outwards flare to it. And I like the fact that they've layered the silver chain with the gold, just because it's giving us something slightly different from what we've seen on the covers. It's either been all silver or all gold. The other video that they posted, I love the selection of jewelry, the earring dangling down, the simple rings. It really plays off of the hardware in the leather piece, and I love the beautiful oversized, almost cocoon-like shape and silhouette, well, silhouette and shape is the same thing, of this leather piece. And then they've completely slicked down his hair. It just really pushes it in a different direction from what we've seen and gives it this really like beautiful, slick, clean vibe. All of these covers and spreads have done an incredible job. V looks unreal in all of them, but Cartier and Celine have also been highlighted in a way that stays very true to their brands, which is just a flawless partnership. If you want more Mr. V content, go check out my Love Me Again reaction if you've not seen it. It's linked just there. But thank you so much for watching. A massive thank you to everyone who has subscribed. You are the best. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.